Today's webinar, How Clubs and Resorts Can Cultivate a Meaningful Relationship with Manufacturers. This webinar is brought to you by Club and Resort Business and our sponsor, FOH Worldwide. We thank FOH Worldwide for sponsoring today's event. I'm your moderator, Phil Karen, Senior Editor of Club and Resort Business. Before we begin, we have a few housekeeping details to cover. The webinar will be available at clubandresortbusiness.com. Use today's login link for on-demand viewing. Slides are available for viewing in the resource widget. There will be a Q&A session at the end of the webinar, and if you're watching on demand, you can still ask questions. Just put them in the Q&A box, and someone from FOH Worldwide will be in touch with you. If you're having any technical difficulties during today's session, simply ask for help through the Q&A box on your On24 console. Also, we encourage you to get social and share information from today's session. Again, we welcome your questions pertaining to the presentation. Just enter your questions as they occur to you in the Q&A window. We will try to answer as many as possible during an interactive session that will follow the main presentation, but please feel free to type in your queries at any time. Now, we thank our guests for being here today. I'll share some information about both. Kaya Gross is the Strategic Development Director of Corporate Lodging for FOH, a worldwide award-winning food service and hospitality innovator that includes the brands Front of the House for restaurant products and Room 360 for hotel accessories. Boasting over 15 years in the food service and hospitality industry, Kaya's experience includes generating multi-million-dollar sales revenue, onboarding large key accounts, and new product development. An expert in the cultivation and maintenance of key relationships and employee satisfaction, Kaya is committed to fostering a positive work-life balance and a supportive culture for her team. In 2020, she founded The Velvet Hammer, a group focused on mentoring people in business from coaching to training. Passionate, tenacious, and a strong believer that breaking barriers is possible for all, Kaya has teamed up with people from all areas in the food service and hospitality industry to help and encourage them to understand that if they want it, anything is possible. Joining Kaya today is Chef Michael Klicos, who serves as Executive Sous Chef for Gaylord Hotels. Michael is a passionate culinarian with a deep love for the art of food. With a career spanning over 12 years, he currently is serving as the Executive Sous Chef at the Gaylord in Aurora, Colorado. He oversees a team of more than 100 dedicated cooks and chefs, managing more than 8 culinary outlets to create exceptional dining experiences. Previously, Michael had the privilege of working as the Executive Sous Chef at the Hard Rock Stadium in Miami. Before that, he has spent his entire career in hotels, from Starwood and Marriott brands to the iconic Fontainebleau Resort in Miami Beach. From these renowned establishments to various culinary endeavors, his journey emphasizes that the magic of a great meal lies in the stories it tells and the memories it creates. In addition to his culinary career, Michael is deeply passionate about mental health in the food and beverage industry. He has had the opportunity to collaborate with organizations like CHOW and NRA to support wellness initiatives aiming to change the culture surrounding mental health in the hospitality industry. His goal is to foster a more compassionate and supportive environment within our industry. Through these efforts and his extensive culinary journey, Michael aims to share the joy and wonder that delicious food can bring to our lives while also prioritizing the well-being of those who create it. In his off time, Chef Michael enjoys giving back to his community. He has volunteered his time and culinary skills for numerous not-for-profit efforts such as the Spotlight Gala in Baltimore, which benefits the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation of America. Well, we're looking forward to today's conversation. Kaya and Michael, welcome.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning.
Hi.
Hello. Well, I'm impressed with both of your backgrounds and looking forward to our conversation today. First of all, to start this off, I know the two of you have a long history of working together. Both of you share with us, tell us about how that working relationship began.
Well, in 1925.
Yeah.
Way back, yeah.
So
You want to go? Or
I've
you
been
want me to
doing
go?
Yeah, I'll start us off on how I found you. How about that?
Yeah,
And
that's
then
right.
we'll just take it along. So literally about 100 years ago, I jest. You know, I've been doing this for a really long time, and sometimes I still want to do how I used to do it. I'm told, no, 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 no. But one of my favorite things was I loved cold calling on accounts because I love people so much, right? So many, many years ago, I ran into Chef. I believe it was at Fontainebleau in Miami, and I was selling him something, but I guess the authenticity that I came in with drew his authenticity to which he came with, and we clicked. And from there, everything else falls away because at the core of my first sales meeting to Chef, there was, again, I use the word authenticity, there was trust, and other than that, there was follow up, and we had what he needed at the time and successfully delivered. So again, this is pre-COVID. So of course, life moves, and both our positions have changed. But wherever he has gone, I have gone with him, so to speak. And not always immediately was I able to find a solution for him, but the two of us have not only maintained that trust, reliability, and co-collaboration, we've effectively continued to build on it. So I've had a lot of joy in seeing Chef Michael's path grow, not only 20 miles wide, but 20 miles deep and 20 miles tall. And I've been able to bear witness to his growth and being able to continue to provide solutions as he continues to expand and push his culinary skills. So that's how we met, and that's where we are now. We've just been working together for a long time.
Very
good. Michael, you share your thoughts on
she pretty much nailed it, right?
Mm-hmm.
We met. It was a long time ago, but it's very interesting. So we initially did business in the Fontainebleau, which was an awesome experience, right? I think that was developing an entire new line of banquet equipment, right? So Fontainebleau has a very substantial banquet department. So it was a great piece of business, and we worked together for years. And it's funny, after COVID, a lot of things were impacted, a lot of things changed. We remained in touch. Kaya being the person that she is, when I was in Miami looking for a little support, I would go to her and turn to her for a little advice. And she knows just about everybody in food and beverage because of who she is, right? So not only do we have that connection, but she was able to introduce me to people, and that has kind of step by step, the butterfly effect led me to where I am today, and I'm very grateful for that. And I think in the entire time, our relationship has been genuine, and I think that the authenticity of that is really what I value most about it. I don't look at Kaya as a salesperson. I look at her as a family member. And, she's literally had dinner with my dad and my mom. So it's a testament. I wouldn't do that to anybody, right? So it's a testament to that, her patience to deal with my family, right?
Well, the man needs to feed 1 million people in the next 30 days, and he needs to feed his family. And I've got to make sure we have inventory. So if we're all going to sit down and break bread and get the job done, we're going to do that. And I do love your family. They are pretty awesome. But I just want to say, I want to say this to you, Phil and Michael, and Michael knows this. I'm a big quotes girl. And before we even look at the slide, which is talking about, I think we kind of touched now, understanding each other's goals and needs. But I just want to say, I have quotes on quotes on quotes. But Scott Stratton says, if you believe business is built on relationships, make building them your business. So I would say about, I can't believe I'm saying this, about 20 years ago when I broke into sales in food service, there were 2-3 other ladies out there that, I could hang out with, right? So you had to make this decision. You were either going to be one of the boys, and that would mean like pounding back drinks and just being a boy, or figure out a way to separate yourself, right, to shine, to find a voice. And I think the first business book I read as a salesperson was Influence People. And he talks so much about that element of humanity, handwriting letters. And that was written, before any of us here were born, but I still do that stuff. And when I started doing those behaviors of giving people cards, handwriting, sending pictures of my dogs on holiday cards, I loved it. And people loved it. And it's always been, I'm so interested and curious about people that it's just how I've driven the business, and I'm really authentically curious, right? And when you know a little bit more about a person, then you can better service them, and you have that open line of communication with them, asking people how their kids are, because you really want to know how their kids are. It doesn't mean I'm going to get the order every time, but I find that as humans, you got to put the humanity first. You've got to build, you got to make it your business to know the people you're working with. And then all the rest of it falls into place, right? I'm sorry if I kind of took this off the slide a little bit, but it is understanding each other's goals and needs.
Well, on that point, how does that happen over time, that you start to understand each other's goals and needs?
I don't know. I think Michael can maybe talk about, how I'm not asking for this focus on me, but there is a general way that people go about trying to get business. And Michael might talk about it, because I don't know how other people go about it. But I do know what people will say to me is, wow, you just asked me about, you remembered that I have and I do, but I just have been doing it for so long. But if I come at you from like, hello, do you want to place an order, versus how are you? How are you settling into your job? And I really do want to know, because then I know if I should tell you today that I don't have your inventory for you. Because if you're having a bad day, I'm just going to call you tomorrow, right? So if you understand your people, then you know them, you know their business, and you know their needs, and you know how to best approach them. That's how I feel about it.
Yeah,
but
and I think it's really important to look, like for me, I look at it in two phases, right? One is, are you going to execute what I need? Right? Can I trust you to do your fundamental job? Your core, whatever you have to do, is the part. That's one piece of it. The other piece is, again, beyond that trust, we have this relationship, which is really easy for me to communicate my needs, and then Kai is very good at anticipating it. When we started working together, we were both in two completely different companies in two completely different spaces. As we were moving on, Kaya went in a direction, I went in a direction. We still remained. I wasn't loyal to the brand that Kaya was representing. I was loyal to Kaya because I knew that she could take care of what I need. So when I moved from the Fountain Blue to the Hard Rock Stadium, and we're doing 85,000 people a day for 4 days straight, and we need X, Y, and Z, I know that, it's like when Formula One comes into town, it's insane how much we have going on. And the last thing that I want to think about is, am I going to have enough equipment to handle this volume, right? And that's why I know that I can call Kaya and say, Kaya, take care of this, right? I don't want to think about the logistics of freight shipping 10,000 of whatever I need. Right? This is what I need. This is the money that I have to spend. You make it work. She'll bring in samples. She'll send what we need. She'll stop by the stadium on her way home from work, whatever it was, right? And then we fast forward to today, where I'm in Colorado, where I'm in Colorado, and Kaya's in Florida or North Carolina or I don't know, wherever. And it's still the same thing. It's, hey, look, this is what I have going on. This is my deadline. Send me things and take care of this. And regardless of, I've never heard Kaya ask me once, when are you going to place an order? When are you going to place an order? When are you going to place? I've never heard that once in my life, right? I think that that's really valuable, because the other piece of this is I work for a massive corporation. I work for Marriott. I work for Gaylord. Marriott, but Gaylord is owned by Marriott. We have an ownership group. I'm accountable to the standards that we have. And part of that is I'm going to bring in blind sampling from multiple companies. We're going to put them in front of everybody, and it's tested. It's not, hey, Kaya, you're getting this business. It's, hey, Kaya, help me out. Take care of this. and we're going to set you up with everybody else. But I speak not only, I trust in what Kaya's representing and what she's sending me, but I speak to Kaya, right? I don't, it's two things. It's the product, and taking care of the product and taking care of the execution of that is one thing. But I speak to, if we ever have an issue, I'm not going to deal with a salesperson that's going to try and rip me off and just ask for money and get this and get this and get this. I know that I can trust Kaya to take care of whatever we need to do. And that's why I don't care where I am. I don't care. I'll be in Europe, right? I don't care. Right? I can call her, and I know, you know, if I need anything taken care of, she'll take care of it. I mean, she'll go to my house and take my dog out if I need to, you know? Like,
well, I want to talk about that for a second. So when you say you've never heard me, you know, ask for an order, so what's really going on behind the scenes when with what we're talking about now at, you know, with FOH, right? So I know how you operate, and what's so great is I don't have to expose Chef to the noise. But I know, because when Chef got settled in Colorado, I got all the information from him that I needed, which is, what does your next year look like in the banquet space club resort area? What does that renovation look like? And he gave it to me in detail, and we found out how many outlets are being redone, how many covers we're expecting per month, per year, the dollar of food sales volume, not even beverage. So I sat down with that and I took all these copious notes. And what Chef doesn't know is that I have a timetable of when I reach out to him for what. But that's kind of how we work at FOH, is like, we are an army, and Chef Michael does not need to know about any of this noise. And I know how many outlets are coming. The samples, for example, we'll talk about real life experience. The samples got there yesterday, and one of the plates got there broken because they are porcelain. But you know what we do at FOH? And Chef laughed yesterday. I texted him back. I was like, there should be two. So our team, our samples team, especially our corporate lodging, our little resorts team, they know they always send two, because what are the odds of the FedEx guy having a bad day and throwing that box so hard that that plate's getting there? It's happening. It's life. We're going to talk about it. But guess what? I said, Chef, check the box. Are there duplicates? Yep, two of each. Because now, in my timeline, because we work with supply chain, we work with production, we're churning all these wheels. I'm keeping that eye on when Chef had told me he's going live, because the day is going to come that he's going to start plating, which is about now, October, November, we talked about, for the steakhouse and for some other items. And I need to be ready that when Chef Michael says, I feel this is going to happen, there are other lines here that are going to be involved. And that's going to be the right distribution, the right programs, the right deals. There's so much involved that he doesn't get to listen to any of the noise. That's our job at FOH. I always say that when somebody's like, oh my gosh, you so much time. And I say, exactly. We're just taking care of your food and beverage, your plates, your flatware, your buffet risers. You're dealing, what is it, Michael, $120 million in food revenue a year? I don't need to be your problem, right? And that's our goal. Easily. There you go. But that's really what we strive to do. And I'm very fortunate that our team members at FOH are so locked in with us. Everyone's just rowing in the same direction. It's like, Chef Michael just needs to know what's in his world. We're not going to give him all that background noise. And I really truly think that's the big part of it.
We have a $2.5 million week next week. It's just like that's, and I mean, that's what we do in this system, is what's important, right? So everybody needs to be doing exactly what they're there to do. And it's smooth. And if it's not smooth, that's what causes the chaos. And to Kaya's point, like, I don't need to know what her chaos is about. I don't need her to be like, oh my God, like supply chain is this and this. It's like, hey, November, January reopen, February, whatever, like these are my timelines. That I'm not going to tell my ownership group, hey guys, we're gonna have to push back this renovation a couple weeks. Like they want.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sorry, I don't have plates.
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go. Well, I think that leads into, and I feel like you've already been really touching on these points anyways, but to maybe streamline a little bit for our audience. So what are some important steps that both clubs and vendors should take to foster a successful partnership? I feel like you've already been touching on it, but maybe to encapsulate it, maybe both of you do that for us.
I mean, I think it's authenticity. Like, be a human being. Don't be a sales role. Like, I don't need I don't need a robot to just send me an inventory list. I can have ChatGPT do it, right? Like I don't need that, and I don't like. It's not important to me. When I started at a very small hotel, I'm now at the biggest resort in Colorado, right? I worked at the biggest resort in Miami. Volume. I mean, we were at the Hard Rock State, right? Volume is what I do, and because of that, every single vendor that sells anything is knocking on our door constantly. They know our buying power, right? They know that for me, spending $50,000, $60,000 a month in operating supplies is just a casual month. They know that, and they want the business. And I am not going to waste my time fielding every single one. I mean, every day I have people coming into the restaurants. Hey, chef, somebody's out at the bar to speak to you. They have something. And it's like, of course they do. Have them talk to purchasing, have them set up a meeting, have them go through this, right? I don't have just a random hour in my day to stop and do the things that they want me to do, right? So to me, like, I can't stress this enough. I used to work for suits, right? I don't like dealing with suits. I like dealing with people. I like dealing with a genuine human being that can understand the challenges of what I have to deal with, the stresses of what I have to deal with, and make it easy. And like, that's paramount, right? And so when, like, to Kai's point, when we met, I was hanging out with my friends from the East Coast, and that was an immediate connection where I'm like, oh, this is great, right? I can tell that you're not trying to just wax me over so we can spend $250,000 on, banquet service stuff, right? It's like, oh, you're just genuinely trying to have this connection and make this thing, right? And if you look at it, you can see the loyalty, right? So I work for Marriott. Marriott has, all we do is value loyalty. That's it. If you're loyal to me as a brand, I know that no matter where you go, I mean, what Marriott has, I don't know, 50 hotel chains under their umbrella. But we know if we take care of you really well at the Gaylord, and you go to the W, and you go to the Ritz-Carlton, you go to the St. Regis, and you go to the Marriott, and you go to the Sheraton, you go to all these things, right? Your loyalty is extremely valuable to us. And I think it goes the same for somebody in Kai's position, right? If you maintain a great relationship with me, that's amazing. If you do something shady, if you do something that I don't appreciate, and if you do something that is going to cost me my time, my money, or my trust, like, I'm done. And there's so much supply of stuff being thrown at me. Like, I'm not going to waste my time ever again if you try and take advantage of me, or if you don't deliver on what you're going to say. I just don't have the time or the patience. And I don't think, anybody in my position would disagree with that. Like, the trust is what's important, right?
So while yes, right? Now, if I was to go, that's the way I believe and operate. This, but we can't always. What's the reality from a factory's perspective, right? I mean, I want to kumbaya and om shanti with everybody. And, sometimes people humor me and they'll meditate with me. But the reality is the work's got to get done. There you go, Michael. There you go.
Right.
It's got to get done. So when you say, so I'll dig in a little bit more of the logistics side of it, because, we're dealing with tremendously talented chefs, visionaries, creators. I mean, if you just look at an FOH catalog, right, and you look under the front of the house side, our Room 360 brand is very powerful on the hospitality side, and guest rooms, public spaces, bath spaces, and then we have the front of the house side. And on the front of the house side, we deal with talent like no other. I mean, Chef Michael has honored us. If you come into any one of our showrooms, you see when a chef comes in, we have them sign one of our plates, like their favorite plate. And what's wild is they never pick the same plate. And we have enough plates for everybody, I'll tell you that much. But as a good manufacturer, and why I love working for this company is Simone and Maida, our leaders, they are so good at listening to the culinary voices. They're creating with the best in the culinary field. So what a successful relationship between resorts and manufacturers should look like, and how to foster one. So if anybody, here's some things. As a manufacturer, we listen to the artists, the visionaries of tomorrow. Chef came in the office and then he sat with his fancy Balenciaga slides. And if anybody wants to know the story, email Chef Michael. He'll tell it to you.
Quite possibly. We don't know.
We don't know. We don't care. But he sat down with Maida Perez, our executive vice president, and she's picking his brain on ideas, and he's giving it back. And then all of a sudden, 8-9 months later, we're developing something because she listened, right? So that's the one part of it. It's like you want to hear what they want, let their food do the talking. So that's one aspect of really being dialed in and hearing what the clientele needs, right? It's not about what I want and what I think is beautiful. It has nothing to do with me. It's A, what do you need? But B, what's going to make the client have great revenue, right? So is it cost effective? Is it hitting home in a visual? Is your food being the statement? Is it a product that holds up well in massive amounts of service, right? All of that. So is it operational? Is it functional? And is it visually pleasing? Yes. That's part A. Part B is us understanding the scope, the width, and the pace of our resort and club and hotel clients, right? We're dealing with new builds. We're dealing with renovations. We're dealing with revitalizations. And our process starts 9 to 10 months before. So are we asking the right questions? Are we listening and are we tuned in to what's going on in the industry, in the marketplace? Are we aware? Are we tapped into the right partners, which is Michael, and having the right fruitful conversations to collect the data to help us better prepare for the next season, right? In reality, for Thanksgiving or the Christmas Wonderland, when are those orders coming? In the next 15 days, right? You got to pack it, you got to pick it, you got to put it on the road, you got to pray that there aren't snowstorms and COVIDs and strikes and whatever the universe decides to throw our way. And again, the final thought is Michael, Chef Michael, or anyone at Gaylord, anyone at Marriott does not need to know any of that. That's how I feel. Like, that's how I feel is when I deal with executives of Michael's caliber. It's just getting the right information, supplying what he needs, and in a timely manner that makes his bottom line number be the best it can be for him.
Absolutely. Sounds great. Interesting to hear all that. The perspectives that each of you bring to this relationship that you've been able to foster over the years. So looking at that, you have built this successful professional relationship. For both of you, looking ahead, what are each of you planning to do to ensure that this professional relationship continues to be beneficial, both individually, both of you, as well as your organizations?
Well, I would say it's kind of, to me, it's kind of already done, right? Like I don't ever foresee me not working with Kaya now, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I wish everybody the best in what they do, and in every step of that journey, I want the best. And for Kaya, I spoke to when she was with whoever 5 years ago to whoever 3 years ago to FOH now. It doesn't matter to me, right? The value is in Kaya, and the value is in what she speaks to, her delivery, everything that she was just talking about. That's the value to me. So if Kaya was to leave tomorrow and move to, meditation camp in North Carolina, and we never hear from her again, right? My thing isn't going to be like, all right, cool, who's next up line in FOH? It's going to be like, all right, who is the next person that I know I can trust, that I know I can connect with, and I can do everything. And right now, I know that this is rock solid. So the work is already done. And I think the work is already done for both of us. So in the future, it's just, hey, I have X, Y, and Z. Right now at our resort, we're doing a multi-year massive renovation, probably $100 million renovation. The property was bought 4.5 years ago. They're currently expanding. I mean, we have a multi-use massive bar. I think it's like a 60 or 70 person bar being built in the middle of our Grand Lodge. It's going to be called Embers, 44,000 square feet indoor, outdoor, multi-use space. We're opening a 180 seat English pub that is going to be next to our sports bar. That's phase one of our renovation. Phase two, then 2 of my restaurants go down. My steakhouse goes down for a little bit. We're kind of reconcepting that. Gaylord as a brand is reconcepting all of their old hickories to be aligned. It's like a cornerstone of Gaylord hotels. So if you're a resort attendee and you go from Nashville to Texas to DC to Palms to the Rockies to San Diego, which is going to be our newest property, if you go to any of these, they all have an old hickory, and we want to be aligned with that. And we have flexibility, we have creativity with that, but it's like, hey, we know in probably February, we're going to be back online with that. We know that by March, we're going to go down in renovation for the second part, where I'm taking 2 of my restaurants, I'm completely remodeling them, completely reconcepting them. And so that's just phase 2. So that's maybe the end of next year, something like that. They then build a 500 room tower. So we go from 1,500 rooms, 1,501 room to about 2,001. Because currently we're the smallest Gaylord at 1,500 rooms. We're building a 27,000 square foot event pavilion, right? We have a 4,000 square foot concert venue that's slated for 4 years down the road. We don't know what the food and beverage experience is going to look like in these, right? But as we continue to develop, I can't stress this enough. Like we'll have stuff that we know about 2 years, 3 years down the line, and I'll have stuff that I need done tomorrow that I just found out about yesterday. And whatever comes up in whatever capacity, I need somebody like Kaya, I can always reach out to her. And even if it's just like a personal thing, right? I can still reach out to Kaya. And I think that that's like that's something that I can't speak highly enough about, is no matter what it is, I know that I can trust her and I know that I can count on her. And I think that like again, our relationship is already built and it's going to continue to keep growing. But there's nothing short of a disaster that would cause me to think otherwise about being able to call and work with and ask her for questions, ask her for support, ask her for anything, right?
I'm just going to let you all in on a big secret. I've renamed the whole FOH team Kaya. So Michael's just saying Kaya, but he means everybody at FOH.
Yes, of course. And I mean no disrespect.
I will say that it is not,
right?
I love you for that, but it's, yeah, he just says Kaya, but you got to understand that our team.
And the same way you say Michael, right? The same way you say Michael, I have a team of 1,200 people behind me making this work.
This is true. So I just want to, I you know this. Now, I will say, like, our team, I said it about you this morning. Chef has this magical way of smiling all the time. Like, the sky could be falling. I've seen this man operate Formula One. I don't know if I'm allowed to tell this story, but they were working so many hours a day. There were blow-up mattresses in the stadium suites, and the chefs were just crashing there, right? And still smiling, so happy. I'm like, Chef, I'm outside the stadium. He rolls up in a golf cart. Get in, let's do this. And I'm counting the boxes, and we're just making it happen. But Chef's got this amazing ability of just smiling, and I feel, you know, taking a lot of the noise out of the stress is part of that magic secret sauce, if I may. And
the sauce.
The sauce. All right, it's the sauce. And that's another thing. We can both laugh at me. That's really good too. But thank you for saying that. But I want to be very clear that I'm not the one that's schlepping the samples and packing the samples. And I just want to give a shout out to somebody on my team. His name is Andres. Chef reached out for samples last week. So Andres is a little newer on our team. I said, hey, Andres, you want to help me? And I said, I explained this, your massive plate. Chef's got a plate where the knives fall in and the knives touch the steak, and now we're gonna get him the right plate. So Andres helped me, and then Andres reached out to Chef, and thank you, Chef, for helping me coach along on that one, and we got him his samples out. But the little things that is part of the FOH culture is like, make sure the customer gets two in case one breaks. If I ever do run off and meditate somewhere, if I'm that fortunate, I've got this pesky little thing called bills, so
right.
All of you are going to see me around for a long time, but I will know that, I'm going to give you another quote. Okay. Sorry guys. Write it down. This is a good business of business is relationships. The business of life is human connection. All right. And whether we are dealing with supply chain issues, freight and logistic issues, inventory issues, delayed issues, POs not getting paid issues, contract issues, at the end of everything, every day, there is a human being behind every one of these topics, right? And for so long, we've just lived in this culture where it's like, we're so defined by our status and our money and our positions and our titles that the littlest, tiniest things get lost. And, I had a call this morning with a very large client of a specific hotel brand. And I have no idea how at the end of the call, she shared something very, very personal with me. And she's a lot younger than I am. And when I hung up that call, I took a minute to process, and I was just so proud of our industry that there's trust between all of us, that it's okay. We're all just doing our best and showing up, right? So I'm sorry, we're totally off the slides. I should have a look at that. Yep, we have dedicated internal support and all that. But you know what? I'm going to stick to what I'm saying is, if we just remember to treat our clients, our internal team members, and the people we're working with overseas, and the truck drivers and that are delivering our products and everywhere, of course, if we just remember that there's kindness and authenticity, the trust and the loyalty will follow. Because at the core of it, we're all just humans first. Okay, so I will allow anyone to make another meditation or two jab. You get that? I allow it. But you can't lead with that business strategy mind and expect to have long-term relationships. You can be the best in business and you'll get that one deal, but the trust and the loyalty will guide what comes after. So what's new for us? We're rocking and rolling. FOH is constantly developing, expanding new products. So we have, if you actually look at the slide, we have this gorgeous new moss artifact. So we just showed that at NRA in Chicago, not our NRA, not the other NRA. Pretty sure everyone on this call knows about the National Restaurant Association. We're developing a lot of products that are working on the sustainability side, because that's becoming a topic that involves a lot of our end users' needs, our customers' needs. And the main thing is we stay, what Michael said, we stay proactive and not reactive. Like, I need to know everything Michael talked about. He gave me this information 6-7 months ago, and it's calendared on my end. Our team is lined up and ready to go. We have people on the ground too that are just available to ensure that we do the least amount of reacting when we could be proactive.
That makes a lot of sense. Well, Michael and Kaya, very interesting conversation so far. I did want to jump into some questions here from our audience. I know we have some here. As a reminder to attendees, you can jump in with questions, type questions into your On24 console in the Q&A window. Some of you have done that. Let's take a look here. What are some of the top reasons for choosing a vendor or making the decision to end a partnership? So I guess on the vendor side question, I guess that's sort of for Michael and I. The partnership side of that, I guess, could be for both of you if you like.
So I'm gonna have an example from when we were doing Formula One at the stadium. Right, first year Formula One was in Miami. That was up until the last second. We were, going through challenges of doing the first time massive event. The vendors that stuck out to me were the ones that showed up, that I picked up on a golf cart and brought them in, and they said, how can we help, right? And I say that is not, I don't have an expectation that you're going to show up and get your hands dirty every day, but when they see the scope of what we're doing, and you know, I'm very grateful for Kaya, right? And there was others in there as well that I still keep in touch with to this day, even though I don't live in Miami anymore and I don't use any of their product, but I still keep in touch with them this day. I've had food vendors that would come and help me break down pallets and organize things, and I've had my rep from my broadliner put on a chef coat and jump in and do an action station because we were so shorthanded. And it's like, these are the kind of pieces that, to me, I won't forget, right? After Formula One, we had a little pool party at my boss's house, and everybody came over, and the vendors that were there, and we all drank a little champagne and celebrated because we're like, oh, I cannot believe what we were able to execute. And we invite them into our house. I say our house, it was my boss's house, but she's basically my godmother, so it's fine. So we invite them into her house, and we're sitting there, and we're sharing this experience. And I would not do that to a random person, right? I do that to people that I saw put in the time and the effort and the work to have that beautiful relationship. And on the flip side, the expectation is not that you do that, but if you don't care and you're just sending me emails and you're sending me this is this and whatever, like I don't need to maintain that relationship, because I can get things without that, right? If you're my Cisco rep, we don't use Cisco out here, but we have a different company, but your main broadliner, right? We have corporate contracts with our broadliners, and we still have a choice of broadliner, but it's very limited. But if you're not going to be, if you're not going to have that relationship, if I can't trust you to give me the answer that I want, or if you're going to waste my time or all that stuff, I just don't need to use whoever you're representing, your brand, your product. And I think that it's not necessarily about me ending a relationship, because I don't think I would ever just close the door on anybody. I don't believe in that. But what I do think is I just won't spend my time. It's because, to me, it's just time. Time is money. Time is everything. Time is the only resources that we will never get back. So I don't want to waste a second of it responding to 47 emails about something that could just be solved in one single thing, like take care of it, right? And that, to me, is the most important thing. And if you're not able to do that, or you don't recognize that, and you can't read the room, I don't know if how many have really experienced what a busy day in a resort looks like. The second that we're there to the second that we leave, it is nonstop, from busy services to having to return trucks because we received too much product that was out of temp, to engineering issues, to my office becomes a therapist's office for a good 30 to 40 minutes a day, where I'm trying to help somebody out with a personal issue, or maybe we had work that just got a little stressful, and it's nonstop, right? And if I'm not firing at the 100% level that I need to fire at, and if I'm not willing to be empathetic and understanding, and if I'm short, right, that's the number one thing that I try not to be, is I try not to be frustrated or short with somebody, right? And sometimes it happens, and I'm sure Kaya can attest, right? Maybe sometimes she'll ask me something and I'll just be like, not now, right? And ignore it. And she knows full on what we're going through in the operation to know, like, oh, what do you mean not now? Like, I need to, it's like, all right, cool. You respect the time, and you respect, and you have an understanding of what's going on. And I think, like, having that understanding and having that general knowledge and having that empathy is super important, because, again, if you're going to be a robot, right, I can just go without you. And I don't, but it's not like, it's not about, I would never hard cut end. It's just, I've built relationships that I value. And if I value your relationship over somebody that's not putting in the work, the time, the effort, then I just, just don't need to use that person. But I'm also grateful in the piece that I have an opportunity of choice, right? And I go back to the buying power and the purchasing power of a resort or the purchasing power of a stadium. We have people knocking on the door for our business. So you have to set yourself apart from that. And I guarantee you that anybody that's worked with Kaya or whatever, they know what the difference is between her and a suit that's just going to show up and show you a sample and leave, right?
Hey, I wear suits.
Yeah, but you are not a suit. There's a difference.
Not a suit,
I am not.
But yeah.
A suit.
Well, I would say the whole FOH culture is not a suit. Come on, Michael. What was it like? Tell Phil about your experience coming into that FOH office and showroom. It was like your third day of game.
It was actually really, it was a lot of fun because I showed up and this was, I went there a couple times, but when I was actually leaving, when I was coming out to Colorado and I was leaving Florida, it was very, very interesting because I showed up and before I even had I hadn't even stepped foot in the property. Right? I started here January 16th. I left maybe November, I left Miami. I showed up and it wasn't like, hey, chef, what are we going to sell you? It was like, hey, he's moving out to here to do X, Y, and Z. We have no idea what that's going to mean, but this is what the resort is. This is what they have. Let's just have an open conversation as if we were to make a decision or if we were looking at something. What do you like? And that's what it literally started as, like, just look around here and just put a Post-it note on what you like. We ate lunch, right? We hung out, ate lunch. Maida got a glimpse of my beautiful, quite possibly fake Balenciaga slides. And it's become a running joke, right? But the point is like, there was no attempt to do anything. It was just like, hey, just come in here, take a look, let's see. And then fast forward to now, it's, hey, we're planning X, Y, and Z for 30 days, 90 days, a year out, 2 years out. And remember when you were in the storeroom and you picked out this and this line, like, let's see all these together. And now, like, the pieces are starting to kind of come together, but the intention was never like, oh my God, we gotta make sure that we get this business because in 4 years from now we are going to get $100,000. Like, that wasn't the point,
100%. So I want to just talk about that. So we knew Chef got this amazing gig in Colorado, right? And we knew that we would lose the luxury. Okay, Florida. Don't take my accent away. So we knew that we would lose the luxury. So we have showrooms in Chicago, New York, and Miami. We call them playgrounds because we like to, what Chef just said is true. I come in, we have a great team. Samantha runs our Miami one. We have people everywhere else. And we say, here's sticky notes. Go, dream, get crazy. Put sticky notes on what you like. So our goal with Chef was exactly that. He was embarking on a new adventure, and there was zero thought in it that, oh my gosh, we're going to get something instantaneous here. But we wanted him to know that he had an ally when he was going out there. And obviously you could tell he's a creative, that he kind of knew he had a vibe. And we just stepped back and we let him play. And kind of what we did was how did you even get there? You drove, you swam, you flew. I don't know how he got to Colorado. But by the time he got there, there was a big box with just conceptual ideas that he had wanted. And we're not even having that conversation yet, almost a year later. But as he's creating, he's got little bits and pieces, around him that he knows, A, we have, or B, we can make or curate for him as he embarks on this insane next 4 years of all the greatness he's going to do. And I'm just going to taste it. But
there's actually,
we want to just play, like we want to play together, and that's what we love to give you.
So hey, I want to jump in on that. You said you want to play together, but I wanted to try to get to this question from the audience. Somebody did ask, what if there is an issue in the relationship? If you have a conflict, a problem? I don't know if the two of you have had a problem in the professional working relationship before that maybe you want to share a story on, or even just hypothetically, how would each of you work through it?
I'd like to go on that one first. Okay. The first step of solving the problem is taking away the problem. Oh. So as from where we sit, and then Michael, you can say, if not, okay. So yesterday, Chef got one broken plate. What was in the box? 2 of each, right? I feel that from where we stand is the first thing we try to do is get as much information, and I'll stand by that. Keep the 47 emails away from the end user. Get that solution ahead and away as much as possible, because they are busy enough. They are working hard enough. Is it always going to happen? No, but I'll give you an example. You know, we have a customer who's having a situation, you know, unfortunately, you know, properties will clean stuff with certain things that we don't recommend. And there's a lot of stuff going on, and, you know, certain chemicals or soap shouldn't be used on certain things. However, we have a customer who's not quite happy with the way certain ice buckets are holding up. And our team jumped on it, and we said, of course, the ones that, you know, you feel didn't hold up well, we'll take it back. And we just all said, sure, we're going to solve it. And then when we checked inventory, we don't have that specific item until December. We already told the customer about it. So the team, our internal team, lovely, amazing gals, we got on a call yesterday, and what's the solution? Well, they wanted stainless steel. We have it in matte black. We just didn't even tell the customer all the worry that we had. We just said, hey, team, not available till December. We want to solve this problem. Can we offer you a black one instead? So, I mean, your question was, if there is a problem, how do you get through it? I think from the manufacturer, factory creator, the onus on us is to provide a solution, right? That's how I think you make the problem right. And I'll speak to Chef, but that's my strong belief. Like, take away the noise, give the solution.
Yeah, and I, you know, going back to our relationship and like the value of this, right? I know the issues that are being caused are completely not in specifically Kaya's hands, or a lot of the time not in the company's hands. You know, we've dealt with so many curveballs over the past decade, right? And it's never going to stop. So I don't look at a failure as a failure of our relationship. I would look at it, if there was a challenge or there was an opportunity, it's like, all right, cool. So let's say shipping of something got delayed, whatever, and we're not going to have it in the time that we need. It's okay. So what are we going to do? Right? I'm not going to point fingers and go, God, man, like these guys are messing up, whatever. It's like, all right, cool. So I just need a plan B. And then that's where, you know, the whole team, Kaya and her whole team at FOH, they go, all right, we're going to make you a plan, and we're going to make sure that this is taken care of. Everybody's got a warranty and a chip guarantee and a whatever, you know? So but that's where I go back to a fundamental piece. If you don't have these foundational things, like, I'm not going to waste my time. But outside of that, right, if we did have an issue, like, I'm sure that we've had supply issues. I'm sure that we've had whatever. It's just like, all right, cool. So what are we going to do? Because if Kai and her team aren't going to give me the right answer, then I'll just go to somebody that's going to give me the right answer. But it's not, I'm not going to, I know, based on our relationship, that they're going to be able to take care of what we need to get taken care of. And so regardless of what that obstacle is or what that challenge is going to be, I feel like when I have the support of a whole team, that I don't have to worry about it, right? And we live and die by deadlines. And like, today is, what's today? Today's October 5th, right?
No, it's not. No.
Yeah, right.
No, it's not.
If I need something by October 7th and Kaya goes, oh shit, we're going to have an issue getting this by October 7th. It's like, all right, cool. So like, what am I going to have by October 7th so that I can do this? And then I can communicate to my leadership and my team, hey guys, we have a supply issue challenge. It's getting taken care of. In the meantime, I'm going to use X, Y, and Z. The actual date is going to get pushed back a week, but until then, we're going to have this. If I can provide those answers, and I can make sure that, I mean, at the end of the day, for anybody that's ever worked in hospitality, there is a circus in the back, and then out front, it is a beautiful orchestra, right? If you go behind the doors, sometimes it is a absolute mess. There's organized chaos. I thrive in organized chaos. That's why I love what I do. But there's organized chaos, and as long as guest facing, they don't get to experience that, because all I care about you spoke to it before, is the experience. I want you to show up and have a great time, right? I don't want you to be stressed eating food. That sounds like the worst experience that you could ever imagine. I want you to show up. I want you to have a good time. I want you to have some great food. I want you to have a good experience. I want you to leave going, that was awesome. I want you to leave going, I'm glad I spent my money there, right? And if I can't provide that for you, like, that's sad. You know, you ever go to a restaurant and you look around and you feel stressed? You're like, that's sad, right? We just want to make people happy. And it's so simple to make people happy. And as long as you, as a guest, whoever that guest is having a great experience, you don't need to know about what's going on in the back. You don't need to know that I have a supply chain issue and that stuff coming from here to there is delayed because there's a truck driver that's sick. And then stuff coming from here to here is delayed because a FedEx guy threw a box, right? You don't need to know all that. You don't care. You just want to make sure that you're getting the value and you're getting the experience. And that's what's important, you know?
Absolutely. Hey, I do want to, I think we have time for one more question here. One question from the audience. What for you is a key takeaway for cultivating partnerships in this whole process?
I know that I've learned so much more of what a good relationship can be from having a good relationship. And I mean, I've learned a lot.
I like that.
Right? But like, as
right.
Because as I progress, I'm still very young and new in my career, and it's only been, I don't know, 15 years, something like that. But I know that I work with people that have been in doing this for much longer than I have, and I can't even feign the idea that I know everything that I'm doing. And so I think it's really important that I can learn from the experience, the composure, the organization, or on the flip side, I can learn from all of the negative things as well, right? But whatever that entire experience is for me, I know that I'm growing, and as I grow, I get to learn and I get to take tidbits of things from here and there, and that to me is like the number one thing. Is I know that I don't know anything. And recognizing that I don't know anything, and recognizing that I can lean on the shoulders of people that do, the people that have done the things, the people that do have massive teams that have done the things, right? I will say this all the time. I've been in hotels for about 15 years. My most valued person, or there's two really, really valuable people to me. I wouldn't say the most valued. That's not fair. Two, one is the dishwasher that shows up at 5 a.m. The other is my omelet cook that shows up at 5 a.m. I don't know if you guys have ever been to a hotel where you have probably a more tenured cook making an omelet on a buffet line that's been doing it for 20 years. You can learn an immense amount from that person. And no matter where you are, no matter what city you're in, there is somebody cooking omelets that's been doing it for a minute, and they can share with you incredible stories, and they meet people, and they can share their experience. And if you don't feel like you can learn from somebody like that, if you don't feel like you can learn from a dishwasher that's supporting their family, that is going through challenges of their own, if you don't feel like you can learn something from everybody, then you don't belong in hospitality at all, right? That's all.
Kaya, do you want to offer some thoughts, a key takeaway for cultivating partnerships? What's most important to you?
You know, a couple of things, be authentic and really care about the people you're servicing, and come from a place of yes. I don't want to expound, but it's really that. Just be yourself and listen to your clients and your customers, and come from a place of yes. The rest will fall into place. And the big one for me is our large clients, they don't have to know the noise. They don't, keep it simple and drive the solution, but always remember that we're all humans first.
That's a great way to wrap things up here today. Appreciate both of your time today, Kai and Michael. Thank you for joining us. I appreciate it. I know we do have to wrap things up. If you have for people listening, if you have any additional questions for Kai and Michael, feel free to reach out to them. Kai and Michael, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it. Great conversation.
Thanks for having me. This is great. In
Thank
beautiful Colorado.
you.
Oh, you're welcome. It's our pleasure.
Be safe. Thank you so much to Club and Resort Business for having us.
Oh, you're welcome. And I do want to thank FOH Worldwide for being our sponsor. To our attendees, the on-demand version of the webinar reminder will be emailed to everyone tomorrow and will also be available at clubandresortbusiness.com. A sincere thank you to everybody for joining us today.